Persona! Gah! Arsene! What am I doing, you may ask? Nothing. Just praying by myself. Alone prayer. Cause I'm just in the house like carpet, trying to make my way to heaven. Bet you didn't see that coming. Cause you never see it coming. Because I'm disturbing the peace. Come on, y'all. That was bars! Speaking of bars, oh boy, am I glad that I got bars on my Wi-Fi. Because now I can play the always online hit gacha game, Persona 5, The Phantom X. Yep. That's today's topic, and it's not as cynical as you may be expecting. I'm not sure what you guys assume my opinions on this game will be, because yes, there is a very obvious elephant in the room, and we'll talk about it, but it's not going to be the main topic. I'm here to talk about the actual game, and the story, and all that. But I'm also not enough of an Atlus or Sega meat writer to defend a bullcrap, because there is a lot of it going on. Without further ado, let's get into it. Is Persona 5 The Phantom X a good game? Is it worth your time? Do Sega and Atlus need their hearts stolen? These are the very questions that we will answer here today. Maybe give a like as well. First off, this is a live service type of game, so things can change. This review could be out of date by the time I upload it. Who knows? And I only play global. I know literally nothing about what happens story or character-wise or what's upcoming, so if I say something that's like, oh, Eddie, how did you not know this is obvious? Everyone's talked about it for fucking years now. Everybody knows that this character bit is coming up. This. No, I don't. I don't look at this stuff. But without further ado, for the second time, let's start off with, do I like this game? Yes. A very simple yes. I enjoy it quite a bit more than I thought I would, to be honest. Because when it was first announced, I was like, okay, cool. You know, gotcha, Persona. Persona 5 is a notorious gacha killer as well, so I thought it was pretty ironic that it was getting its own. And I was like, yeah, it's something cool. I'll probably touch it and not really play it again. But I do think it's surprisingly good for a gacha. But I really hate to describe a game like that because it makes me feel like literally every other gacha fan base that does the same thing. Because how many times does your friend try to convince you to play a gacha and they're like, trust me, this isn't like the other gachas. It's actually good. I feel like I've heard that described for every single gacha. If every gacha isn't like the other gachas, then all gachas are the same. But no, it is like other gachas. I just happen to already love Persona, and I find it easier to get into gacha that are based off of pre-existing franchises that I'm way too invested in, like a Persona 5X. Like a Fate Grand Order, like a Love Live All-Star Superstars, like a Project Sekai, you know, anything that's based off of something I'm already way too invested in, you're gonna get me into it as opposed to something brand new. So I won't compare this to other gachas. I've tried a lot, but I haven't full-on played too many over years and years, so my scope is limited. I'm just saying for my own personal expectations of the Persona gacha version quality, this seems quite up there. If I didn't play Persona, would I play this? Probably not. Like I said, unless it's something I'm already into, I'm not really great at playing gachas for longer than a month without uninstalling. So yeah, I am a bit biased, but I don't know, man. I think part of the quality feeling is that it feels like Persona, just mobile, on a phone. Or if you're like me, on a Steam Deck. Want to see something cool, by the way? Give it a second. Oh, and look what I was playing last. And a huge part of it feeling like a Persona game is the gameplay. It runs really well, just a slightly clunkier P5, which is a compliment, by the way, for it being mobile and it's still feeling quite smooth, just not quite to that perfection that the modern Persona games are, like Reload and Persona 5 have been. It gets pretty damn close for, once again, what you would think a mobile would. And as much as I wouldn't want auto in normal Persona games, that's kind of like the dungeon grinder player in me. I feel like a lot of the fan base would welcome it because they do like Persona more for the social aspects, but I don't know. As someone who's been playing Nocturne, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne lately and has been loving that, and already is a old Sona fan where it was a lot more dungeon crawly and just likes the battling system a lot, I wouldn't want this in normal Persona games, but I am freaking thankful it exists here because that is something from other gachas that I've kind of gotten used to, especially for the tedious stuff like dailies and whatnot. You just kind of let it run while you do something else. But for the battles where it actually matters or ones that are harder, I will go into Ultra Gamer mode, and it's actually still fun because I like turn-based JRPGs. Holy shit. I like Persona. That's fucking crazy. They took as many elements as possible from Persona's normal gameplay and adding other things for this version to keep it gacha, so it's not completely the same. So once again, when I do actually do battles, because the game does make you do plenty of battles, but there's also choices on certain parts to do them instead of auto. You do notice it is fun experimenting with all the different stuff in this game, battle-wise, because there is little things that are different from the normal Persona game. Navigators are way more involved. The Persona compendium works a bit different. Obviously, leveling up and grinding is a bit different, but that's a whole nother thing. Even still found a way to incorporate social link type things with synergy, because the other side of the modern day Persona gameplay is the social aspect. Once again, For the gacha stuff, it makes sense to do it this way. And for that reason, I'm glad they ditched the calendar system, because how the hell would they have even done that in a game that lasts hopefully not forever, but as long as possible. But at its core, it still feels like Persona, and that's enough for me. Story-wise, it's a bit similar, where they take things you're familiar with from 5, then weirdly switch it up in a way that so far I've found serviceable. I mean, I wasn't looking at this game for peak writing in the first place. Yes, by Persona standards, it's bottom of the barrel, but for gacha game while I'm waiting for the next Persona game standards, she. And some of the overarching concepts are kind of cool, like the multiverse stuff. For context, only the first 2 palaces are available at the time of recording this, so that's all I've played. I do hear that the writer for Royal and Strikers does the 3rd palace onwards, so I'm hoping the story gets better, because that can only elevate the experience. But I think a bit of why I can enjoy this game narratively and script-wise, not just gameplay-wise, as much as I do now, despite it being a basic story all things considered, is its characters. Character-wise, they do have a bit of that Atlus charm. Whether people disagree with me or not, I think they do. This is why I can take it not being peak, because Atlus and Persona characters in general, even if they've had different types of bonds, like the more coworker sees vibe, or the really close small town friends vibe from P4, and in the case in P5X here, sure, it's not on that level because the writing's not on that level, but they still bounce off each other quite well, and for better or worse is pretty reminiscent of P5. I mean, some of the characters are just straight up rip-offs low-key, but it's okay. I don't know how to explain it though. It's just, do you guys get what I mean? Like, they just have that general vibe to them. So even if I'm not going peak cinema, peak cinema, peak cinema every time, it is still fun. Next, we can talk about our protagonist, our main character, our MC Wonder. He has aura. I was not expecting him to have this much aura, but not as much aura as the Subway Slammer. Ah, okay. I'm very shocked that Wonder is cool, because leading into this, like I mentioned, like I wasn't like super hyped for this. Like I knew I was gonna play it, but I was like, yeah, you know, he's very clearly a Joker clone. And yes, side by side when they're together, he does seem very clonish, but when you are just Wonder and it's just your squad and he's the man, he's kind of cool. He's kind of cool. Another thing I wanted to bounce back with the other characters that I should have mentioned before. This script is all over the fucking place. I don't know why. Past me, what the fuck were you thinking? This is kind of out of order. It has to do with characters and gameplay. The concept for Phantom Idols is genuinely pretty damn smart in my opinion. Obviously, the Phantom Idols, except for the main team, are Wonder's cognitive perceptions of these different characters' wills. Characters that wouldn't actually be Persona users, but due to the metaverse, he can conjure up this cognition of them to help in the squad, which is really smart. And I say this because in a normal Persona game, no, we don't want fucking 30 plus bazillion Persona users. It wouldn't make sense. But in a gacha game, you're gonna get that many playable characters no matter what because of the nature of the game. So either you ignore it or you try to give it a little bit of a reasoning. And I think if you can't make a good in-world reasoning, just ignore it, because it is a gacha game. Most people won't care, especially with shit like collabs. It's not gonna make sense at some point. Not saying for this game, but if I'm playing a fucking game in one universe and Hatsune Miku shows up, canonically, I'm not going to really care to explain why she's there. People will just be like, oh, she's there. But they still went above and beyond with explaining it here because of the cognition thing. So I got to give them props for that. But what I won't give them props for is the global server shit. Now, of course, with it being a gacha, you got to accept it for what it is. It's a cash grab. Duh. That's not what sucks. What sucks is seeing how well the other servers are treated compared to us. Some bootlicker is gonna say, why do you think you're entitled to anything? I don't. It's a fucking video game. It isn't gonna end my life if I don't have the same rewards as other countries. But you gotta admit, having a redeem codes button that has never been used, that's existence is actually a myth. It's like Bigfoot sightings. Not to offend any Bigfoot believers out there. My friend's mom is one of them. I'm not calling you crazy. I'm just saying, isn't it wild that every time that motherfucker comes out, that the camera gets blurry? Look, a free-to-play user can play this game and can be off well enough. Once again, this is not my point. It's just about what's fair, and this doesn't feel fair. All my opinion, but I don't believe there are too many people out there that disagree with me. And if you do, I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say you're on the wrong side of history. Once again, all my opinion. I won't go into too many specifics though, because things are constantly updating and I'm sure there's a lot of info out there that I would either misreport or you could just be better off looking elsewhere, and things are always changing. This is a live service game. So many people have yapped about this already, and there are so much specific rewards that just were changed or not given, or just things changed between the games, and the speed of what characters are coming out and whatnot, and opportunities to get, and all this other sorts of stuff that I just don't want to spend fucking 20 minutes going over right now, because with how long I yap, I will yap that long about it, and I just don't want to spend this whole video going over negativity, because I'm here to talk about the game that I enjoy, not the company that's trying their best to ruin it, you know? But I also wanted to be very clear that I don't agree with it, because it is wrong, and I don't want to pretend that it doesn't exist. I'm not going to be that type of person. But let's move on. At its core, I like this game as a thing that exists. An option. Persona 5 from Temu. It scratches that itch, and since it's not a mainline game, the commitment doesn't feel as heavy. You know, you could stop at any time. I swear I can stop when I want. I'm not addicted. As I mentioned, a free-to-play player can play this game if they don't mind grinding, which you already have to do in any other gacha. I understand, it's 2025. Games are expensive. This is why gacha games do so well. Obviously because of the whales that pay a bazillion bucks. The other huge chunk of the fan base is people that play for free. A lot of teens that don't have access to money like that. I remember when I was younger, I played hella, not gacha games in the sense of like anime gacha games, but a lot of similar stuff like Marvel Strike Force, Clash of Clans, you know, very cash grabby games. And that's where they get their big player base. It's not normally the people in the middle that just buy one thing here or there. So if you don't mind the gacha grind, this is a free-to-play Persona option. And for a series where its fans notoriously don't play the games, it's kind of goated. Tongue-in-cheek joke there, obviously. Now, do I recommend playing this if you haven't played 5? No. Do I know everyone's gonna do it anyways? Yes. I have 4 fucking friends that I can count on my fingers who play this game, and all of them have started P5 years ago, and keep hitting me with the I'll finish soon, and just I know they never will, which is fine. You know, it is what it is, man. I'm done caring about other people's media consumption. It does not affect me. I can't force others to like what I like, and I'm not gonna die trying. It just irks me a teensy tiny bit because one of these friends was getting butthurt when it was taking me a couple extra months to finish P4, which I finished like a year and a half ago, by the way, or maybe like a year ago, I don't remember, but it was peak. I never actually ended up putting out a review to that. I will at some point, but I'll just make it very clear that it's been a while, because it's going to be a very late coming out review. But he was kind of getting butthurt when I was taking forever to finish P4. This motherfucker never finished P5. And I've actually played more than one Persona game. Holy shit. Oh my god. And then I have another friend whose favorite was P3. I finished P3 and they never finished P5. So I'm just saying there is some truth to Persona fans not playing the games. But yeah, you can play this without Persona 5 knowledge, I think. Like I said, if you really want to, or if you just can't afford a Persona game, I understand. Yes, you can emulate old ones, but I know some people don't like emulation. So this is the next best option for a free-to-play experience that is modern, and it is Persona enough. However, there is only 2 palaces at the time of writing this. I don't know what happens in the future, as I mentioned, so I don't know if it like crazily spoils every other Persona at some point. I don't fucking know. Maybe they bring in Maki from Persona 1 and some shit happens and all of a sudden now the old Sona's been ruined for everyone. I would have no idea. If you do have access to any other Persona game, whether it's like Game Pass or a sale for Persona 5 or something, please just give it a chance. I think every Persona game, yes, including 1 and 2, even if they don't exist, are worth their weight in gold. They are fucking amazing experiences. And if you are lucky enough to be able to purchase one of these games, please do so and play it. I want to make that very clear as well, because this is not a replacement for a mainline Persona game. It's just an option. It's the fucking we have Persona at home. I'm a bit biased, but Persona 5 is still my favorite Persona, specifically Royal. I have played Original 5, but I like Royal more. It's really good still, despite what revisionist historians might try and tell you. So I would recommend that, but I think that 3 and 4 are perfectly good modern options. And if you don't mind an older game with more grinding and different mechanics, Persona 1 and 2 are still very good by the standards of when they came out. So yeah, just keep your eyes peeled a bit. Once again, I'm writing the script out of order because what the hell, I thought I was going to end it there, but I guess back to the palace thing. So as I've mentioned, and my script is reminding me that I said, yeah, there is only 2 palaces at the time of recording this. And I know people are, oh, this is like a cliff note. This is why I put this down here. Because yes, people do complain about the lack of content a lot for global, which I guess I understand. Like, yeah, you catch up, you want more content, you get a little bored. But for me, it perfectly matches the way that I play gachas. Because, you know, I play the story before I can get overwhelmed by gacha. Then, look at that, I got more time for the next month or so to play non-gacha games or enjoy other media that isn't constantly shoving gems and summons in my face. And then after, you know, I've had my time away from it, like an ex-girlfriend or a girlfriend we're taking a break from, then it comes back and it's like, yo, welcome back, Persona 5 The Phantom X, it's been a minute, you know? But I do get it. I think last but not least before the end of the video, because I've actually fixed my script a little bit in between the last section and here, the music. I want to talk about the new music. Every time a new Persona 5 spinoff comes out, people complain, but I am eating. Because each time we do, not only do I get more Persona 5, but we get more Lyn music. Not only is the opening fire, but all the new songs have been slappers. Yes, this is the Glaze section of the video. What else did you expect? I think this is a huge unironic part as to why I got hyped for the game in the first place, because like I mentioned earlier in the video, my hype was kind of just like whatever, like the most basic it could be, but I knew I would still probably play it and maybe enjoy it. But around the time the game was coming out, they were hyping it up at AX. I got to see Lyn perform a couple of songs. I wanted to go to the main concert she had, but it was the same time as the Dodgers game and I already got tickets for that, so I wasn't going to just not go. But just the environment, that vibe. I cosplayed as Philemon from Persona 1, by the way, and no one recognized me. It's okay. I'm a bit salty still, but it's okay. Persona fans still play the game, so I should have known. But just being in an environment of Persona fans getting hyped for this upcoming Persona project, which was Persona 5 The Phantom X, there is some truth to that community getting you hyped for things. I'm not normally someone that consumes media in a way that involves others. Normally I just do it on my own in my room and that's it. I don't talk about it much outside of maybe here, but this still feels like I'm talking to myself low key. Like, I try to talk like I'm talking to a friend, but it's really not the same. You can't replace a human with a camera. So I don't do much of this, you know, Twitter community shit, TikTok, anything. I really just put out into the world my thoughts, but I don't communicate back and forth. Neither do I, outside of once a year at Anime Expo, do many big things like that. But when I do, I see the power of it, because being in that environment, everyone being super excited for this game made me super excited for this game. And that's around the time the game dropped, so I was fucking grinding it. It was so much fun when it started, and it still is fun, but I've gotten to the point where it is more just dailies until the next things come out, which I'm fine with. Like I said, it matches how I play. And yeah, Persona music just has always had that way of pulling you in, and I was obsessed with the soundtrack, fucking enamored, non-stop listening for about all of July. Before we end the video, what else have I not mentioned? It would be cool if there was a dub. It's not a necessity, but Persona is a series where I normally do my first playthrough in dub, and then when I replay it, I replay it in Japanese, get the best of both worlds. It's just kind of a ritual at this point, but it's not a deal breaker. Just saying, if you haven't played, don't expect a dub. And yeah, I can't think of anything else, and I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time today or mine. I've already spent too much time on this game. Don't need it taking any more from me. But I just wanted to bring it up, you know. I've told myself that if I'm going to be spending all this time consuming media, and I have a channel where I review media, let me actually attempt to give my thoughts on said media for the audience. So expect to see more reviews here, not just of anime, of course, but things like games, TV, movies, the works. This is definitely more on the chill side because it is non-spoiler and it's my first time talking about it. So I just kind of want to get some more general thoughts out there about the experience. But we could definitely talk spoilers in the future, or just an updated review in general once a lot more content is out. That could be fun, and I promise that my script will be a lot less cliff notes and maybe more script-like, because this was actually fucking messy. I'm sorry. I thought this was a pretty good script, and then I went to read it and was like, oh shit, this is ass. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Have you played Persona 5 The Phantom X? Do you enjoy it? Do you hate Atlas? Do you like men? Let me know in the comments. And before we leave, some final notes. Merope is hot. Atlas, please remake Persona 1. Yaoling is best girl, and I'm out. Peace. Trying to make my way... Nobody cares that your car is loud, bro. Oh my fucking god, I can hear your car. Holy shit! Oh my god! Do you guys care that their car is loud? No, I didn't fucking think so. Let's try that again. So my wife... Is that fucking car again? It's still going. It's been a minute. Why the fuck? We get it, your car. We get it! You have a fucking button or fucking knobs in your car that can make it loud. I can play my speaker on loud music. Holy shit, bro. I'm trying to record a video. I know that the world doesn't revolve around me, but it doesn't revolve around you either. Nobody cares if your car is loud. Nobody! Nobody cares! Okay, let's try this again.